starting with me, I'm going to talk about Sitekit. Sitekit is Google's official plugin for the WordPress, which enables you to check the quick summary of your website's key data. So I'll go through the concept of the plugin and how best you can benefit from Sitekit with a little demo, so that you can have a good sense of how Sitekit works. And then my colleague Ian will provide you with some technical deep dive for toolings and Core Web Vitals, which is a set of website health check metrics. Okay, let's start. Right, Sitekit is official Google's plugin for WordPress. This is a free plugin, and you can pretty much install directly from WordPress or via Exabytes hosting services. So basically, what you can do with Sitekit is we can get quick and easy access to these Google tools products, and you can get a quick summary of key data from these main tools in one single page. So in other words, you don't need to open four different tabs or windows to check this data. Everything is pretty much in one single page. So it's very easy and quick. For example, from the left, from Search Console, you can check the search traffic and SEO data. And from Analytics, you see the data such as users' behavior. And from AdSense, you can get the monetization data and your site's performance from page speed insights. Yeah, so the idea is that you can get all the good summary of these key data from these 4 tools in one single page. Okay, let me do a quick little demo. Okay, I'll share with you another screen. Are you seeing this screen okay? Okay. What you are seeing is actual WordPress dashboard. And this is my WordPress dashboard, and you on your left-hand side, you see this the Sitekit logo icon. So if you click on that, it gives you a nice one-page summary of your website. From the top, you are seeing your website's user traffic data summary from Google Analytics. So you're seeing the number of the visitors, how they got to your website, and whether it's through organic search or directly came to your site by typing the URL, or through the links, or maybe social medias. And yeah, by clicking these guys here. So if I click channels, then it shows the ways your users use to get to your websites. And if you click on the location, it shows the location of your users. So from this site particularly, in for example, 45% users are from Brazil, 30% are from Ireland. And if we click on this guy device, it shows you the devices that your users using. So it tells you that more than 75% of users are accessing from their mobile devices. And yeah, if you scroll down a little bit, it gives you SEO data summary from Google Search Console. So you're seeing things like the number of clicks, impressions, and which pages are popular, and how many page views, and what keywords your user used to get to your sites. Yeah, so you can check the popularity of your sites, which pages here. Yeah, keep scrolling down. Okay, here you are seeing, you're looking at your site's performance aligned with Core Web Vitals, which we will go through later today. It's basically a set of 3 key web performance metrics. So you're seeing your page's loading speed, the level of responsiveness, and the page's stability. So as you can see, some of the scores are showing in red. So this means the site performance is not too good. This is just an example, and if you click on these, and it gives you suggestions on how to improve your poor performance. For example, maybe you should remove unused JavaScript files, and you can minimize the image size, optimize, etc., etc. So my colleague Ian will be giving the deep dive session on how to optimize. And at the bottom here, you're supposed to see the monetization data, but the demo site we are using this for this page doesn't have ads on the page. So that's why it's not showing any ads data, monetization data. But if you have ads on your website, it should be showing the summary of your monetization, just like other data. So yeah, this is very easy to set up. It requires only a few steps. So if you go to the setting menu here, yeah. So what you're seeing is the Google tools that are already connected to the sitekit. So yeah, as we went through together, these 4 items, and then if you want to add more tools, then you go to connect more services tab, and then it shows tool that's available to your sitekit. So in this case, you have Tag Manager available to be added to your sitekit. So with a few clicks, you have Tag Manager on your sitekit. So that's basically how it works. I'll go back to the main slides. So Yeah, now Sitekit is available via Exabytes platforms. So it comes with it comes as a pre-install bundles for Exabytes 12 WordPress services. So I think the Exabytes team can provide a link for the download, or I think you can find it very easily because it shows on the first page. So basically, the Sitekit is designed for designed as an easy use tool for rather less technical site owners. For example, people who have recently started operating websites, and people who don't have much of experience in building websites, who don't know how to write codes on database, the types of people. So for those people, if they go to the Sitekit one single page, then they can check all the key summary very quickly. And this is also a Sitekit is also can be used for advanced experienced users like web developers, with agencies, for their for them to do quickly check the summary of key site data, and for creating the report for your clients. So it saves your time, and it saves your effort, and it helps your site performance well, and it'll be well maintained. Yeah, so that's the quick overview and the demo of Sitekit. So with that, I'll like to hand the mic over to my colleague Ian, who will be providing sessions around core vitals and the deep dive of Sitekit. Ian, it's over to you, mate.
Yes, am I on the screen? Okay, I think yes, maybe.
Yes, you are.
Okay, yeah. Okay, good afternoon. I'm Ian Hong. So I am a web ecosystem consultant, like working at Google Singapore. So my main core job is to help like CMS and WordPress hosting platform to adopt technology such as like we just like introduced about like Sitekit. Yeah, I'm actually Taiwanese, but I relocated to Singapore here. Yeah. So for the further session, I will like share about two parts. One part is like should just demo the Sitekit, and we're very glad to say because we have like deep partnership with Exabyte. So from now on, you can actually see the Sitekit plugin inside your WordPress. So next page, please, and next, yeah. So I would like I spend about like 5 minutes just to walk through the step because like some of you may know, even the plugin is there, it's installed, it's activated, but there's still needs a few more register steps to more like find the Sitekit with your own Google account. Therefore, the service we mentioned like Google Analytics, like Search Console, like AdSense, those data will available to be like exported onto your Sitekit on WordPress. So next page, please. So when you're first be inside your like back WordPress like backstage and you have the Sitekit activated, you will see this screen. So just simply click the sign in with Google. Next. So after you see the sign in with Google, there will be a clear tutorial like this. So it tells you, okay, so you need to one time like register your Google account, just like what I mentioned. Next. So once you click sign in with Google, next page, please. So this is just like the general like authorization like box for you to like bind your Google account here. Next. After you bind your Google account here, there's like one step called verify site ownership. So if you're already using like Search Console, you may definitely be very familiar with this, right? Because you need to let Search Console knows that this website's owner is you. You are the webmaster of this site. So after click the proceed, it will shows like a few steps. For example, adding a file on your WordPress site to let our like Search Console service or our Sitekit service to ping your WordPress to know, oh, this is your site. So after you click like proceed and next page, yeah, and it's more like to allow like the more like data exchange, because like previously, all this like no matter GA or like Search Console data, it sits on the original platform, like on these product. But after like adopting Sitekit, it can be ported onto your WordPress. So just like a consent here, and after you click the allow button, next page please. Yeah, it just like tell you, okay, this is like finally sets up your search your Sitekit defaults with the Search Console. And next please. So it is set up. So if you go to the like your go back to your WordPress like backstage, next page. Yeah, you can see like at least like should also demo in the real WordPress backstage. Okay, so you can actually see all your like important site healthiness data. For example, how much click, how much impression. It will just show in your like WordPress. So what we were trying to like supply why we build this product is we understand like from a site owner, the backstage of the WordPress is definitely some place you want all of your data, all of your dashboard to can view it just like a one-stop. So this Sitekit may further help you. And you can see we just go through a few steps of clicking and some simple like authorization. Therefore, you can have this service. So it's more like a little bit like starting the data. You can start to use it in your WordPress. Try it out, and there's like a feedback like button. So definitely use the tool for feedback or let Exabyte like know about your overall feeling or any thought feedback on Sitekit, then they will let us know, because all your thought as a site owner which using WordPress and also like Google service like feedback would definitely help us to know more about like how we can improve the product. Next, please. Okay, so today we're talking about like two topics. One is like Sitekit, right? So we can see Sitekit as one of the one of the like tooling dashboard which help overall like visual data let you understand, because we need to have a measurement first. Therefore, we can do some more planning or action item on our site. So after we have the Sitekit, then now we move toward Core Vital. And next page, please. So some of you may already heard about like Core Vital, but some of you may not. So I would just like also introduce Core Vital from some scratch, like why Google starts like this like metrics here. So these are like common user behavior among your website, right? So sometimes you may like by yourself even entering your website and it is continue loading. You did not know whether the site will finish loaded or not. Or even sometimes like in the middle, you're like interacting, you're scrolling or you're like clicking the website, but sometimes the page is just like seem to be freeze. It does not like respond. Or even like on the right side is some kind of experience when you're trying to click something, but the ads like just like being fetched very late and just like come out to push away the content. You just like accidentally like click on the ads. So these are all of the bad experience like we often face around like times to I think still nowadays these are some situation, because like web is something very open. How people build it like in like it may arise in a lot of different kind of ways. So we have definitely faced this kind of experience. So as a site owner, we may definitely want to improve this, right? Because we want our user to have longer session here. They want to have more loyalty here. And this kind of like fundamental user experience is definitely something you want to help to achieve on your site, which user will happy about your site. So how do we achieve this kind of thing? Like, how do we know like whether it's really happening, whether it's really responsive, or whether is this like really delightful? So that comes to the further 3 metrics. Next page, yeah. So that comes to like the further 3 metrics. So as we called it, core web vital. So it's like a user-centric performance metric, which is like starting from Google, yeah. So these 3 metrics, like they are LCP, largest contentful panes, FID, first input delay, CLS, cumulative layout shift. And we can see from here, we also set up like a threshold to indicate like whether like how many seconds, how many milliseconds, or how much number is it good or not. So I will deep dive into each of these to explain what is the core vital. Next. So first one is LCP. So it's like related to the previous, you may have remembered the screen about like, is it happening? So it measures the largest like element, which first being like render, or we say draw on the first viewport used when user arrive on your website. So we expect that the largest element to be painted less than 2.5 seconds. Then we will say the LCP is good, because like I think it's very reasonable, right? You definitely want something to be clearly painted like below 2.5. If something is painted like a hero like image, or your like video on the side in the middle, the trailer, the placeholder is like painting a lot more like later, then you will definitely feel it's a frustrated experience. Therefore, LCP is something to help you measure this. And there are some like main factor here. It also shows that, okay, so your server time, also some more like deeper on the front end technique, like how's the like web page is being rendered. You may need to wait the CSS and JavaScript being like loaded, executed. Therefore, the browser will start to paint. So all this like detailed technique or detailed like concept of how browser do the drawing is something will really affect LCP. So further, we'll also have a session to like share some solution optimize it. So for here is more on we introduce about the concept. So this is LCP. Next. Okay, so after we have the something draw on your website, so user may definitely start to interact, right? Start to click, start to scroll. And FID is something we measure whether the page responds to the user. The way it measures is like, since it's called first input delay, so when user first interact with your page and the time page response, the delta is we call FID. So we really expect FID to be lower than something like below like 100 milliseconds, because that is a responsive like response for a user. And if you're a developer, you will definitely know like, oh, when my FID is high, definitely because a lot of like script, a lot of JavaScript, which is like running and idling the page to respond. So that may be some starting point to understand and fix FID. Next page. The third one is CLS. So remember we talked about the ad shifting experience, the ads or other lately load assets will push away content. So CLS is the way how we like really measure it. So I didn't have the screen here, but the way it's being calculated is like, for example, the area which the ad is like call here, we call the impact fraction, and the distance like it move the content is called distance fraction. So it's like times among that. And as we mentioned, it's like cumulative. So it will continue added up all the UI which is in your viewport, and it's like being real time like floating around, or we say layout shift like on the fly. We will add up those and see the results. So CLS is something to also measure the stability of your website. So definitely this is something we can need to improve for a better delightful experience. Next, please. Okay, so as you may also heard, like starting from June, like the surge, the SEO update, like one of the metric we call page experience, which is like the on the right side, the blue signal. This is something will further be put into the ranking factor. But there's like definitely a lot more ranking factors. So this is just one of the ranking factor. And core vital, which is the metric like we build it to measure your site performance, will be incorporated into page experience. So that means like from a site owner, having a good performance of your site is definitely important. And this is something you can definitely control, right? You can like use some technique or use some plugin to help your website core vitals to accelerate it. And further down, it will help on the page experience threshold. Next, please. So we talk about we need to measure, like we have the metric core vital, right? And we want to optimize it. So definitely one thing starting is we need to know how to measure it. And there's an important concept I feel is like often being forgotten by like the people who's working on core vital is that there are two kind of metrics. One we call lab data. So you can see maybe like the image at the middle one is a lab. Another is called field data. So the right-hand side, the animal represent the field data. So lab data is more like it's used simulated like environment. Maybe your browser is just like a one-time like calculating the core vital. But this is something actually not really that accurate because it's only represent one-time testing. But it's more easy to like produce, right? Because you can quickly just use a tool. We have lots of tools will be introduced later, but use a tool to see where your page perform at by in lab, or we say in simulation. But another important thing is we definitely want to know in the real world how user interact with your website, what's the experience they have. So here comes we say field data. So field data is come from real user monitoring. We will have some tool further also sharing like what is like how to do real user monitoring. But you definitely need to collect a lot of like users interaction data of your site. Therefore, that data will be something accurate of your site's like real performance. So that's the difference between lab and field. And next page, please. So some of you may already like may try it out of this called Page Insight, right? I think it's some tool like famous like among year for like test out the results. So you can easily see that in the middle we have the section. We really call it like field data, and it is like a percentage chart. So if we take the LCP section, for example, it indicates like, okay, 19% of the user actually access your site less than 2.5 seconds. This is what this graph is telling. And the 5.6 is the number of the 75 percentile the user accessing your site. So you can see this will not only be single number, it's actually have a graph and have a percentile number, which is like, for example, 5.6. So it's like reflect the real world user experience of your site. On the other hand, we can see there's a little bit like UX can be improved. Like above there's a score number 8, but this is actually being calculated by the below lab data. So we have like a lot metric actually, but we pick the 3 which we think is most important as core vital metric. But this score is actually being calculated by a formula to result in 8. Yeah, but this is lab. So that means the Page Insights open instance to simulate your site performance is a one-time effort and result in the lab data you see here. Also the above number here. So this is the difference between lab and field. Next, please. Yeah, so for field, that's why we also like emphasize on like Scikit and Search Console previously, because in Search Console you can see like most of your sites data, so include like indexing, include also healthiness. So for now, the core vital, also the page experience report is inside Search Console. So that's why you definitely will need to register this. And On Search Console, you will also see the field data of your site. On left-hand side, you can see the red, yellow, green. It tells like whether this of your URL is in which section. So you need to pass all three metric in the green threshold. Then from our tool will indicate your site as like good. So this is something can start as a starting point, as a field data, real user data starting point to start to investigate about your site performance. Next one, please. So we actually have lots of tools. Yeah, so we have like quickly go talk about page insight, and we have like Search Console, and the later page will be a little bit like shock, but it's more like how all the tools are like related. So next page. So this is how our tool is related to each other. So don't be frightened about this page. It's just like an important overview. But what I want to say is like we talk about lab and field. So how should we start here? So first, next page, please. As an engineer or as a developer in your company or as an individual developer, you can definitely start with something. Start with the lab one. So lab one, because you can quickly reproduce, right? For field, you need the tool to like wait and collect and accumulate all the field data. But for the lab, you can start by your own. So you have the Chrome Dev tool, or you have the Lighthouse CLI, like a bash like command, or even there are some third-party tools here like Calibri or Speed Curve or Web Page Taste. So this is something you can start to measure your size of the lab data. Next, please. So after you measure your site with lab data and try to improve that time by time, you may definitely want to know whether what you're like optimizing is really reflecting to the improvement, the acceleration on user experience. So here comes the field data. So if you are on the PM team or the growth team, you can definitely leverage, like we say, page insight. We have the field data section in the middle right, or Search Console. We just show the view. So these are the tools you can see the field data and see how real user interact with your website, whether your optimization is working or not. Next, please. And swapping a little bit is more like, besides using our tool, you can definitely use we have the page insight API. So it's the API which will help you to put all those data we see on the web UI into JSON format, and you can definitely build your own dashboard. And on the other hand, we have this like Crux API, Crux Dashboard, which based on the Chrome UX report. This is like a BigQuery data set collected by Google. So it is also a data set for real user data. So you can use the BigQuery or some API to extract your own like the data you want of your site, or even like from competitors' domain to draw your dashboard to monitor the field data. Next, please. Yeah, and furthermore, beside all the tool I just showed about, is mainly like provided by Google. From the ecosystem, there are definitely some more mature, but maybe paid version solution, like we know like New Relic or Calibri, but they definitely also provide both lab and field data like on the fly. So that is something you don't need to like, you can just like by a few clicks or by their registration tutorial, and you can further track all your core vital data, no matter lab or field, on those tools. That is the way also can be used. Next. Okay, yeah. So that's mainly about the tooling part. I hope this does not like scare away people for using the tool, because that's definitely important. You need to have the tool that you can do optimize. So there's definitely a lot of tool among WordPress like ecosystem you can optimize your site. But here I would just like introduce one of the tool which is Google also backing up, but because people you may know, Google have like started an framework. It's not like open source, but Google still have teams to contribute to that. And we also have the framework being one of the turnkey solution on WordPress as a plugin. So this is the plugin. Next, please. Yeah, so the plugin is like help to like automate it and do some optimization on your original WordPress site and the theme you're already using. So next, please. It also provides some validation and from server optimizing your overall website. So it is like a solution you may consider. I know there may be some like not that good like comments on M, but this is I would take it more like a technical decision. It's just one thing you can think of whether for now, if you want to accelerate your website performance in like a short time, then this is something can be considered. Next, please. So just why we share about Ant is because these are all the like front end the web tech which is like already being used as optimization inside the framework. So using the framework is something like already incorporate these. This is why we suggest this. Next, please. So just like some quick glance on how the framework, how the plugin look like. You can see when you install the M plugin, WordPress M plugin, there is like a tutorial, like it like help you like distinguish whether you are a developer or you are like a non-technical. You may just be a writer and using some people help you set up the overall WordPress, and this is the place you can select. Next, please. And after you select URL, you can also like just like pick the theme. So these are also those popular themes on WordPress, like a lot of people use to set up their blog. And this is something like let's M plugin to help you adjust the M version toward these plugins. Next, please. So a little more detail sharing about the plugin is that there is 3 kind of moods can be set up on M WordPress plugin, and this is something like can be like decide depends on what's original themes or other plugin you've already used on your WordPress. So first we call this standard mood. So you can see the standard mood is the kind of mood which is you already using a theme that is highly like compatible with AMP. So the theme we show in the previous slide is something actually like those are highly compatible with AMP. So after turn on the standard mode, then it will help you transform all of your websites into AMP format. So that also means it will help you to added all those features I show in one of the slides, which are a lot of like front-end optimization technique onto your website. So it helps to accelerate your site. This is one way if your like theme is like doable with this, then you can select standard mode. Next slide, please. Another one is like we call this transition mode. So your theme or some of your plugin may not be that like compatible with AMP. So transition mode is to help you to extract those like pages or some part of your website which is like compatible with like AMP and turn those into the AMP version, but you will still remains your original non-AMP version. So it's more like it helps you accelerate part of your website, but it does not break your website because for those, the AMP plugin knows it cannot help to do on the conversion, on the converts, it will just leave it. So this is a kind of like interim. If you just want to optimize part of your website, then you should definitely like choose the transition. Next, please. This is like more toward like bloggers or publishers. So we know like mostly blog, like it will be done by a like format. We have the title, we have the hero image, we have the content, we have the author timeshare button. So reader mode is just to help this like quickly, simple, like extract all this like important component out to an end page. So your original web page will still remains here, but there will be additional like more like a newspaper, a reader kind of simplified end page which contains your title, image, and content, so that the user have a better viewing experience because it is made by AMP. So this is also for like non-tech savvy people, which you're just using WordPress as a blog, you can just use reader mode to extract these, and it helps you to build a simple but easy to read AMP version reader like content. Next. So here just like a quick summarize about the stream mode, which is like M WordPress plugin. Yeah. So just like I mentioned previously, it's a selection, and it's a one solution you can think of to optimize. And under this solution, we have these three modes also can be think of which most suitable for you. So just like information for people to consider for this plugin. Next, please. And we like keep mentioning about the theme. So from you can check our website. There are actually a lot more theme like supported by our like plugin. So this is some place you can see or whether my WordPress theme is there, and you can consider if you want to accelerate Core Vital and you're not that tech savvy to like leverage other like more catch or more like image optimize or even just like splitting plugin on WordPress, and this is something you can consider. And that's it. I think that's mainly the parts I want to share. Like we talk about Core Vital toolings and one solution, which is to help you accelerate your WordPress site by using the framework. So now I think we can go to the QA part. Yeah, so feel free to submit your question to the QA box, and also we're available for live question. I will let Xingyi here also to host the yeah.
Okay, so here's a few questions from the attendees. So the first question is, will this sitekit takes up bandwidth or worsen the website performance of the website?
Okay.
Yeah.
Like, Shiva, I'll answer first, and you can add in your like comment. Yeah.
Oh, you can add in the
Yeah. So interesting. Interesting question here. Definitely, like we would say, every plugin is like another like code bundle, right? So you add one more plugin, it may definitely like affect your WordPress server to run. So it may take up bandwidth and it may slightly affect performance, but it's just how plugin works. But it's more like a trade-off. So whether this plugin is really helpful for you to understand your site. Like for me, I think it's for like relative like helpful, right? Because you can see all the data here. So I will answer it like yes, but this is something some trade-off when you want to install a new plugin.
Okay, so here's the second question. From Jane, Core Web Vitals performance report lists a lot of technical recommendations such as reduce unused JavaScript or CSS or eliminate render blocking resources. Any tips or resources to make it easy for non-technical site owners to optimize their site?
So that's one part why I introduced AMP, because you can see also there are like a reader move, which is we specific like target toward non-technical user, and the framework help to do things like reduce unused JavaScript. And I would say there must be lots more like resource to or plugins to help your site optimize, but it's like fairly like there's no like best like plugin. Even I would say the AMP plugin is not the best plugin. It's one of the solution, but you can see sites on maybe web.dev. That is one of the Google site which tell you about optimization. So think about it, and you can overlook on the web.dev site.
Okay, so the third questions. Hi, wonder if there is a way to inform Google after a website is completely revamped.
Okay. I think this is a little bit outside of today's goal, but after a web, I guess you're talking about your moving sites, and I think there is like a 301 or 302 indicator on. We now call Google Search Central forum. There's like some article talking about if you're moving sites. Another definitely the one thing you can do for telling Google about your site is using sitemap. Yeah, but if you have further question, we have the Search Central forum. You can submit question there, and people will answer there. Yeah.
Okay, next questions. Hi Ian, based on your experience, how much of a boost in search engine ranking do you see if you were to compare a normal mobile responsive site versus one that has AMP installed?
Okay, so one thing I need to clarify is we take Core Vital into page experience, and page experience is one of the ranking signal. So that means speed is a factor here. AMP is a way to accelerate your speed, but it does not mean it is like a signal for like directly impact your ranking. Yeah, because you may definitely like very technical. You add some other plugin which can accelerate your speed and do very detailed by adding your own plugin. Yeah, so this is like I would answer like the AMP is not signal and like page experience only one of the factors. So you may also need to consider other factors. We didn't have the data to compare like how much page performance directly correlate to your ranking. Yeah.
Okay, so next questions. Do I still need Google Sidekick if I already have other SEO plugin like Yoast or Rank Math SEO?
Personally, I didn't invest into Yoast and Rank Math SEO, but it's more like we can say for Scikit, you have these Google tools like embedded, and you can have all those data. So I think it depends on you, like whether this plugin can show this data, and if not, do you want to also embed this in your WordPress? If yes, then Scikit can be a considered option.
And yeah, I would like to add to this. So the Scikit is designed for different purposes than that of Yoast. So it's basically Scikit is basically providing a way to combine these Google tools, which includes a search console for SEO data and yeah other data like monetization from AdSense and web performance from page speed insights. So yeah, it's simply built for different purposes. So yeah, the answer is yes. Even yeah, there's no problem that you have both tools, the Scikit and other plugins.
All right, so next questions. Does Elementor support Sidekits?
I I actually like frequently saw this word, but I actually not yet believe that what is Elementor. So, this why I would say is like, should you know? Like, if not, then we're sorry, we are a little bit hard to say yes or not. Yeah, if like we would say WordPress supports Sidekick because it can be installed as a plugin, but I'm not yet know what Elementor is. Yeah.
Okay, then we go to the next sessions. Next questions. Is AMP going away after the latest Google update?
So that's why I do some mispass here is the thing changes first. Further, if your site is built by AMP, you will not see the lightning bolt like symbol on search result. Second, um, previously there is like a section called top story carousel. The way to be inside top story carousel, like is one requirement is you need to have your site in AMP, but now it doesn't. That is the only two changes. But from starting point, it's actually not like AMP affecting or AMP is as a ranking signal. So our team is still investing in AMP and like take it as a like a framework to help like maybe non-technical or we say like um, tech team, which is like adopting this kind of web component solution for acceleration to try this framework to accelerate your site. But in the end, the important thing is still core vital, and that is something AMP is helping. So it's more like a joining effort. It's not like AMP is going away.
Okay, so here's the last questions. Does Ask by CV, does the Sidekick will hook up server resources? What is the recommended server spec to run smoothly with Sidekick plugins installed? Sidekick able to see similar data studio type analysis?
Okay, I think this question, what is the answer? I think for now, I would say the first question is more like assumption. So I didn't have any cases here, and second one, we also didn't have the statistic, but thanks for raising about like the recommended server spec. I think this is something maybe we should discuss with our product and also work with Exabyte to provide some suggestion here. Yeah, and similar data studio type. Sorry, able to see similar. I would say for it's more like export those tool like data onto WordPress, but the charts, the UI is being predefined. So if you have your own site and you want to do more customized ways to build your own charts or dashboard or UI, another thing you can consider is the Search Console API. So Search Console actually have the API to let you extract data as a JSON and show on your site. So Scikit is more like for general, like all of the user, you will have the pre-built data linking APIs and also the UI to let you see the result. But if you really advanced and very tech savvy, then you can consider Search Console API. That is something you can customize yourself. And maybe that is more toward what you mentioned here about Data Studio type analysts.
All right. So no questions from the attendees, but I have a questions here. So the
Okay,
questions is, how do core web vitals account for sites whose user base may be using older devices or using slower networks?
You mean accounts for here is like, can you rephrase your question? Sorry.
It's how do the core web vitals account for sites whose user base maybe they're using older devices and they have a slower networks.
So we can see like from the page inside, we have the field data section, right? So that is like accumulating all of your user interaction no matter which device or which kind of service network they are using. So it's like all of the user data will be aggregated there. But I just mentioned in one of the slides, we have the Chrome UX report, or we call it Crux. That is the data set you can actually separate like service type to let you know, oh, okay, so for 2G, 3G, or 4G user, like how they accessing your sites like by segment. Yeah, but that is more like you need to self by using some BigQuery technique. But
Okay, so no questions from the floor, and it's almost time, so I think we can wrap things up here. So thank you for Ian and also Sue. Thank you for the awesome sharing, and it's very detailed, and I believe that all the attendees had gained insightful information from the sharing. So really thank you so much. Thank you, Ian.
thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Bye bye.
thank you.
Hope
Likewise.
to see. Yeah. Thank you. Hope to see you guys next time.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Bye bye.
So before I end this, I would like to let you guys know that we have a full recording for these sessions, and we will inform you guys when the recording is ready via email, so you can access to the recording. Yeah. So really, thank you for all the attendees. Thank you for joining with us, and I hope to see you guys again in our next event. So have a nice day. Thank you. Stay safe and goodbye.
Exabytes. Grow your business online.